Hi, in today's video, I will be creating not one, not two, but 10 drawings. That's right, it's time for the 10 art styles challenge.
So usually, or at least what I've seen the most, people draw a character in their own style first, and then in 9 other styles. But I have this drawing ready and I just made a time-lapse video of it. So if you are curious about the process, go ahead and watch that one first. Or after this one, whichever you prefer. I don't control you. Anyway, let's start with wings. It's not the first drawing that I did, but it's long enough for me to ramble a bit. So, first off, I only drew shows that I watched and liked, and I only considered shows that have people or humanoids in them to make the process easier for me. And I wanted to tackle this challenge for months, but it seemed overwhelming. And let me tell you, it was. The simpler sketches weren't so bad, but even then you have to draw 10 of these and it just adds up.
But Wing's style isn't the easiest.
You have these huge eyes, very distinct face shape, and long, slender limbs. Really, everything about this one was, well, a challenge for me. And at first, it was hard for me to get these proportions and shapes correctly, and the sketch looked a bit cursed. But when I added colors and shading, it all started to look right. And in the end, I can say that I am satisfied with the result.
But I'm gonna be honest, even though this show is definitely a part of my childhood, I always thought there was something off about it. Like, they always had kind of weird proportions and all the transformation got a little bit ridiculous in the later seasons. That's probably why I haven't watched a lot, and I was always more of a witch fan. I only watched some episodes here and there, and I read a couple of comics. And I will be forever salty about the fact that out of the two, Wings got more popular and Witch only got like 2 seasons. But here is our first finished drawing.
Next up, we have Adventure Time, which was actually the first picture that I drew, and the first style that I knew I had to include. I haven't watched this show a whole lot, but I really liked it, and I love the simple, silly art style, especially noodly arms and legs. And I think that my character would fit in that word perfectly.
I was also considering going with the style of the gender bent fin. Forgive me, I don't remember the name. But I think the noodles are more iconic, and I decided to stick with them.
third style that we have here is Total Drama Island. I loved this show as a child. The style is very angular, but also very diverse, as in all of the characters have different body types, head shapes, eye shapes, etc. So it was actually very flexible and gave me a lot of freedom in how I wanted to go about it. So I settled for a simple round base and big almond-shaped eyes. And overall, I am happy with how this one turned out as well. Powerpuff Girls is another of the shows that I watched a lot in my childhood, and it has a simple art style as well. There was a lot of characters designs that I could choose from, but I think it made the most sense to draw her as one of the girls. It's also the only picture in which she's not wearing a rainbow turtleneck. I just didn't see it in this one. And yes, I know there already is a green Powerpuff Girl, but their clothes match the color of their eyes, and I didn't want to change the color of her eyes. Let's move on to the next one. The Simpsons. How could I not? I think it's one of the most recognizable art styles. And even though it's definitely in top 3 most cursed drawings out here, I still like it. It's a fun style. This next drawing is, I think, my least favorite here. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was one of my absolute favorites. I loved watching it after school, but because this show's focus isn't on people, I had troubles finding a solid reference. Of course, there is Frankie, and I mostly based my design on her, but I don't know, the end result isn't as good as I would like it to be.
I feel like one of the problems was the line art. It's thin and sketchy, and some characters don't even have line art. And I kinda suck at simple, lineless style.
Next style I picked is Monster High, my middle school obsession. This show's art style is absolutely fabulous, 10 out of 10.
And I was always a bit upset at how short the show's episodes were. They were like, what, 2 or 3 minutes long each? Later on, there were a couple books, but I always felt not fully satisfied with it, and I thought I was too old for dolls. And now I think they're discontinued and expensive, so my inner goth girl will never be satisfied.
And I think this is the reason why I tried so hard to make it accurate and why it took me the longest to finish. And besides, it's not an easy art style. I kinda struggled with it in the beginning. And to be honest, I wasn't sure if I did it justice until I was shading it. The crucial part, I think, was the eyes, and once I had finished them, I could say for sure that I was happy with the end result. Oh, one thing that I wanted to mention is that none of these shows, besides like one, had a character with braids. So I just had to wing it and show it how I imagine it would look like in these styles. Or I'm just bad at finding reference, I don't know. Also, I didn't really want to draw her in the same pose 10 times, so I slightly changed it up in a couple drawings. So here, instead of the usual 3/4 view, I drew her facing front, holding an egg. And the reason why she's holding it is because it's like a running joke that her favorite thing to cook is a deep fried whole egg. So I just thought I would include it. Anyway, I wanted to make the drawing more fitting the show's aesthetic color-wise as well. So at the very end, I added a blue overlay layer. Just a nice touch-up. Also, I wanted to say that it felt weird drawing in different styles, like unnatural, because you have to really focus and try to figure out what makes this specific art style stand out and what's different about it. And honestly, many times I wanted something to look different than the original style. I felt like I was stealing a different character's design and it felt wrong, but that's the whole point of this challenge, to make it look like your character belongs in that universe. I don't know. Is it normal or am I weird?
The next one is real quick and it differs from the rest of the drawings because it is not a show. So what is it? It's Duolingo. And no, the drawing process wasn't as fast as it may seem. I just relied on rulers when I was making this drawing and it actually looked like this. And what you see here is just me drawing on these rulers. But why did I even pick this? Because I was struggling to pick 10 shows, and one day I was doing my language course and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I made my character in Duolingo style? So naturally, I did. And here is the result. Enjoy.
So this one is Avatar: The Last Airbender. When I was a child, I kinda skipped this show. I don't know why. I guess I just thought I wouldn't like it. Well, I was wrong. My husband made me watch it like 4 years ago, and guess what? I loved it. It's just such a good show.
The story is great. The character arcs are great. The people are multi-dimensional and compelling, which isn't always the case with shows mainly targeted at children.
And the art style's nice. It's not my favorite, but it's pleasant. But the colors or thing in the show are more earthy than the other styles and than what I usually draw myself. So I had to tweak them a little to make them look more fitting. And I think it worked well.
By the way, this was the art style where characters actually had braided hair, which was nice for a change.
Moving on to the last style, we have Husband Hotel. I guess it's a weird one because I like the show and the style is cool, but I don't see my character in that world, you know? It's just a weird crossover. I mean, I guess one character that could be kinda similar to her was Charlie, and that was who I mainly based my design off of. And the show's style is very exaggerated. Big eyes are enormous, long lashes are a meter long, wide smiles are, well, super wide. And I tried exaggerating the features, and when I was drawing them, they did seem like that. But then I looked at the finished picture and I see I was a bit too timid with it. But once I changed the colors to fit the style and added some dramatic lighting, I think it looks good enough. So that is it. We went through all 10 styles. It was definitely an experience, but it was fun. But what do you think? Do you think I did good? Which one is your favorite and which one is your least favorite? Let me know in the comments and I will see you in the next video. Bye!